guys, it's Sikaal and Opheana here. Today we're going to be talking about being bad slaves and what does that mean to
Bad
us?
slaves. That's an interesting concept. So do you want to get us started, Opheana?
Okay, so we really wanted to talk about this. We're quite passionate about it in that we've been through a journey ourselves, and we see many people go through the 3D journey, the journey of working 9 to 5, the journey of feeling they need to succeed, they need to achieve, they need to have recognition for what they do, for who they are, for their abilities, their education, all of that type of thing. So it's really about, you know, the 9 to 5 job, the grind.
I think really interestingly, we're here on Earth, and for those of you who have thought about those concepts or read about them or heard about them, we're going from a third density to a fourth density energy frequency. Okay, what does that actually mean? It means everything's changing. The model in which we are used to doing life is changing. And that is so related to that concept of being a bad slave. And Opheana and I really want to talk to you guys about it, what our experiences are, and offer you maybe some openings in your own life, how you can maybe change it, if it's suitable to you and if you feel resonant to it. So I'll start a little bit maybe with my own journey, and then we'll talk about our journey together.
Being a good slave.
Being a good slave. So I was actually taught in the thoughts of being a good slave. So I went through my education. I did my university education in business economics, and I went into a marketing career for about 6 years, but I wasn't happy in it at all, especially after a few years. It just wasn't sitting with me, and it wasn't who I was. So that's when my life, my soul started talking to me and thinking, okay, well, how can you do a different life model? And then I went into doing things like EFT tapping, and I turned my life around, started my own business, did my training, etc. So that's when I sort of stepped away from that
Can I interrupt there for a
grind.
second?
Yeah, absolutely.
What was the other career you were thinking about doing before you fully decided on marketing?
Are you talking about psychology? Yeah, and so what's your thoughts about that?
Well, just the fact that you had two sort of streams, and you took, the route of a better slave.
Yeah, exactly. So it was interesting that exactly at that point I had a heavy duty discussion within my own heart and my own soul with, should I go into marketing and business economics, or should I branch off into more the psychology and the human side of things? And at that stage I chose marketing. Now, I learned a lot there, and it's all very valuable for me. However, I got stuck in the grind of, getting an apartment, getting a certain type of car, and all that, which doesn't make you happy. But it's like it all builds up, and so many people are
momentarily happy.
And it makes you happy because it's like ticking the boxes of the old model of society. This is our opinion of that. So you may see it a little bit different. That's okay. We're here to share our opinion with you and get that dialogue going in that sense. But we found that if you can look at why you're doing things and really review why you're doing things for yourself, why are you doing certain education? It's to tick the boxes, perhaps. You're getting a certain house with a mortgage, with extra debt to keep up with life, and then you want that next promotion, and you want the kids to go to the right school, and you want to fit into a model which in our society is seen as successful. However, if your heart is not happy, or you're feeling like a slave, or you don't want to go to work in that same way, life is not making you happy, guess what? Your soul is talking to you saying, it might be time to think about where can I tweak my life, or where can I make radical changes so that I can fit into this new model, which is much more heart-based and all about us being a unique puzzle piece in the world. And being a unique puzzle piece in the world means you are here as a soul to be and have a role in the changing over to a new format of society where it's more based on heart, on soul, on spirituality, on love, on light. And it doesn't have to be fluffy at all because it's grounded, it's changing with Mother Earth. And so where do you need to tweak your life? And one of the things we found to take the pressure off ourselves is the high pressure of finances. If you can tweak that and make it into living within your means, then you can actually find out what it is that your heart is calling you to in a safe way without getting too stressed. Because the reality in this earth as well is you got to pay your bills, and you've still got to feed the kids, and you've still got to do everything you want to do. You've got to perhaps have your car that you
This
need.
is where all the beliefs start coming up.
Yeah.
Can you see how they're already coming up? Where if we're saying something and you're like, yeah, right, well, I've still got to do this, this, and this. Look at why am I feeling that way? These are the beliefs. So I know I go on and on about beliefs, but it's true. These are the things that stop us from moving forward. It creates brick walls in front of us. And so the world
and just adding into that, the beliefs are there because that software has been programmed into you by your parents,
system, yeah.
which is done by their parents
Society.
and society. All the messages you get from mass media and your friends and those around you, they all used to doing things in a certain way. Yet somewhere deep inside, you know there's a different model, and potentially that's applicable to you. And so do you want to talk a bit more about those beliefs?
Yeah, well, it's really about finding out what's stopping you from really getting what you're getting. It's really about what is it that's stopping you from really walking towards what you want. Because there's so many reasons, or there's so many, excuses that a lot of us use not to actually really go after what we want. And a lot of people think, especially if you're doing the bad slave thing, you're like, okay, well, what's a way where I can feel free? And usually it comes down to
or maybe
finance.
feeling like a bad slave because you're actually doing the good slave thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You're doing the good slave thing, but you're not. We're realizing we
Yes.
weren't good slaves. We
Yeah.
were bad
And we're
slaves.
proud
We
of it.
couldn't sit in that system of churning and churning and churning and churning and keep going. And I just want to add one flow here, which
Strong.
is, the standard thing is to get the job, to get the house, to have everything sorted, get kids, the whole thing. That's like the real standard model. Beyond that, there's this model that's accepted within our society, which is moving you more towards freedom, right? Setting yourself up to be financially independent, financially free. And that's where you enter realms like multi-level marketing, real estate, property investment, entrepreneurial business ideas, perhaps, things like stock market and bonds and all those type of things. And guess what? We've tried all of those as well. And guess what? We've succeeded to a certain degree in all of those. We've been able to tick all of those boxes to a certain degree.
Short periods of time. We got out quick.
Because we figured out, oh my God, our hearts feel crushed, or we're not happy with where this is leading, or how this is going, or this is not sustainable for the way we want to live life. Because a thing that's added into that as well is the masculine feminine balance. Do you want to say something about that as well?
There's a lot of energy coming through.
Yeah, I can feel that.
Sikaal thought I was going to be talking more. So it's really, we could have made any of those work, right? We could have been the good slave within any of those.
If we would have forced them.
If we would have forced them, our energy bodies, they had to, really, our kids are waving at us, had to really constrict. Our emotions had to be held down. We had to box ourselves into a certain way so that we could actually do that type of work. The the MLM that we went into was very spiritually based, so that's how we were okay to get into it. But you finally discover that in the end, the financial freedom or the holistic freedom that some of these things seem to offer, the more successful you get in it, the more you have to manage it. And you can't walk away from it because you do need to manage it. And so it's like, is it truly your passion to be working it and working it and working it? And there were moments in time where you can really convince yourself, yeah, this is what I love to do, and you pump yourself up and all of this stuff. But is it really, 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 really? Is it really what your soul wants to do? Or are you slaving yourself? So this is 9 to 5, this is businesses, this is anything. If you're not doing it for the right reasons, it's going to hurt your system in some form. You're off. Even if it's a fine tuning, maybe you are in the right direction, but just to fine tune it and sort of think, well, is it really fitting in with my life? Is it fitting in with the way that I want to be? Am I truly being who I am? Or am I modeling what they tell me how I'm supposed to be?
And when do you tick the boxes? At what stage have you achieved the success Is it when you have your home, your first home, or when the next step you own it outright, or when you've achieved a certain position,
sacrifice until you get there.
in like in a promotion or something like that? What we've learned is that in this life there's a balance between your masculine and your feminine energy, and I have masculine and feminine energy in a male body, and Opheana has masculine and feminine energy in a female body. And so ultimately it's about empowering both of those energies within yourself. So as the masculine energy in both of us is directional, projects, gets things done, gets things organized, and we absolutely love it. But if you sit too much in that, which is what our current society sits too much in, the doing, the succeeding, the achieving, that masculine energy,
everybody,
you
so
find
many people are doing
there's a disbalance. And how do you know there's a disbalance? Is you get to deal with maybe things in your physical body that are not working well, or in your emotional body, too much stress and exhaustion, or in your relationship, or in your family.
You have to have a drink to relax.
And then there's things like drinking or smoking, or things like blanket themes are needed to actually create a balancing in the disbalance that is innately in you. So when you switch more to a beingness, a creative flow and allowing, which is more that feminine energy, then you actually come into balance in yourself, and you get to be the full puzzle piece that you were meant to be when you're here on this earth journey. So it is not about slaving and getting more and getting more and being more and being more and being more. It's about, or doing more. It's actually about finding something that works for you. Now, don't get us wrong. For some of you, or maybe a lot of you, it still feels like you're in the right place within your job, and that's brilliant. If you are in the job that makes you happy and you want all those things, that's beautiful. We're not here to say what you do or don't want. However,
check in with your feminine.
We are here to challenge you on your feminine. So can you say a little bit more about that? How people can do that?
Yeah, so the feminine, to use the meditations, to go into the feminine part in you, to nurture yourself. To imagine the ideal feminine. You know, she's motherly. She's attractive. She's sensual. She takes care of herself. She takes care of her body. She connects with her soul. She nurtures. She flows. She's powerful, like the volcanoes, like the Mother Earth energies. You know, there's a lot of creation energy, and the masculine needs that energy for anything to really move forward. Otherwise, things are forced. So if it's all done from a masculine point of view with a little bit of an injection of creativity from the feminine, it's really not going to be that holistic, soul-infused work. So if you ask your masculine to just say, hey, let's just sit with this and do this together, then we can create, we can conceive and create this baby together, this project together. It's a real key in daily life, in work, in whatever it is that you're wanting to do, is to have that balance of the feminine and masculine. It doesn't mean that every moment has to be balanced with feminine and masculine, because sometimes it's just this full energy of the masculine. You're just obsessively like, ooh, I'm doing this. And then there's other moments where after you've done that work, where it's like, okay, I'm going to have a bath in my Epsom salts, and I'm just going to have the candles on. And you just really take that time. You do some juicing. You just take that time, and then you may want to really get into it again. But it's about finding that what is it that you need. It's not driving past those points, driving past listening to what your system needs,
and really listening to what life is showing you. If your body is not healthy, life is showing you you're in disbalance. So there's two options you have: A, you listen and act, and B, you don't. And guess what? You're going to go further down that same road. Your health is not going to get any better down the track. If only you reach that point where you have this or have that or have achieved that, because guess what? You're not listening to what your unique puzzle piece is. And so if you listen to life, and that includes those around you, and that includes your partner, that includes your kids, includes nature, we're ultimately all here to be all we can be, and that is so much more than only achieving along a perhaps financial success grade. It doesn't mean you can't be financially extremely abundant. There is no cap on that. However, what we're saying is that life is inviting you to find a balance in your masculine and feminine energy, and an old model is very, very much focused on the masculine drive. Learn more, work harder, achieve more, get a better car, get a bigger house, get a partner or get
have
a family.
enough money to give to your
and then
children when you die.
And then have grandkids, have enough to give. We hear that so often with clients as well. It's like their main focus is having enough money to then give to their kids when they die. So they're actually living their life
Really good
in the
slave.
grind as a good slave so they can give to their kids. Now, it's honorable to want to give to your kids, but guess what? They too have a unique puzzle piece to fulfill. And you got to look at where do the responsibilities lie, and it really is an
empowering
old
for
model.
them to create their life like
Yeah.
that. And if you do have plenty to give to your children because you've lived your passion and you've automatically magnetized, attracted that into your life, then yeah, it's there to give freely to whoever it feels that needs to flow to. It's really about really deeply trusting that you will be supported. The true meaning of abundance, that if you truly follow your passion, if you truly follow your soul-infused work. So this is not just your work. This is not just what's going to make me the most money, what's my brain, best at. It's what does my heart want to do? And maybe it is, some sort of profession, but there's an artist in you as well. Bring it together. There's a musician, there's a gardener, whatever it is, somehow have the faith. And it could be rocky in the beginning, but if you really again look at the beliefs that's holding you back from doing it, you can have a soul-infused job, business, whatever, service of any kind, and be energetically paid for that.
There's no rush with that. So once you realize this, allow the steps to come.
I just really want them to know that you will be supported.
You will be. You'll be carried. And so we'd actually advise, based on what we've experienced, not to make just a quick decision. Oh, right now I need to be the artist that I am, or I need to be in a different profession, or I need to leave my job. Just gently follow. Give yourself 3 months, 6 months, 12 months to make those shifts and flow with it. However, if you are way past the boundaries of when you should have made that, and you are getting very unhealthy, or you are getting so extremely filled with emotional and mental stress, you're way past overdue decisions that you need to look at truly in your heart.
Because what does really matter? If your health isn't here,
or you're about to lose your relationship because you are not listening to your heart and your life, what's the use? What do you really want in your life? Is all you want that success and ticking the boxes? Well, guess what? The model of life is changing. And so you've got to flow with that. You've got to be more flowing rather than just simply one directional. I mean, you've obviously heard the stories, the times where you just get your education and stay with one company for your life. Everybody understands those times are gone, yet the next step is, well, perhaps the role of what it means to be in one job for a certain amount of time is changing as well. And so the model that we're moving to is more based on a feminine, masculine rebalancing.
Being, merging that
merging
together.
Both, being all you can be, and not just one directional.
I really want to bring this across, that Sikaal and I made a commitment to ourselves. I mean, right from when I started working, I've never done a 9-to-5 job. It's always been different creations, different businesses, all of that type of thing. But we have both made a commitment to ourselves that we're only going to do what our heart, because we played with the other. We'd come together, we got our ideal relationship, we got our ideal family, all of that type of thing. And then we wanted to master, this financial world. And we played with different ways of, being fully financially free and all of that type of thing. The thing is, the financial system is set up as a slavery system. If you really, really deeply look into it, it's just the reality. And so don't base your decisions on the slavery system, because you will be a good slave. And so we made a commitment to ourselves. We will only do what our heart, our higher mind,
and our soul
really wants us to do. And, maybe we need to fine-tune every now and then, but we're really following that, and it's really working, and we're very satisfied, and we're very excited when we do whatever we do. And we're taken care of, we don't have a BMW. We have had one in the past. They're really expensive. They cost a lot to repair. We don't need one. It did have a good speaker system, but but we don't need it. We really don't need it. We love our current car. That's all we need. And maybe we will have, the most ideal electric car or whatever.
But the thing is, it's just a small portion of the pie of your life. Whereas one of the things is it's just such a big part of life now. We're saying the new model it's a little bit less relevant, and it doesn't mean you can still not have the millions if you want them, yet to get there is a different route than perhaps now you've been following. So this video and our sharing is our insights into something that may resonate within you, and maybe not yet, but maybe it'll plant a seed for you to have a good look at and think about, am I overdue for decisions to flow in a different way in my life? Is my relationship showing me that? Is my health showing me that? Is my life and work-life balance showing me that?
And what is life all about to you in the end? Because if you're watching this, it's fairly likely that you're a soul-led person. You want to follow your heart, and so really feeling, well, which area am I not following my heart, and why not? Why am I not following my heart in that area? It's really key, and we're at such an important time in this earth reality to make the decisions, because it's going to get harder and harder to stick to that. Like there was one time when Sikaal was holding on to one, 3D way of being, because the money was rolling in, and I'm like, you know what? It's not in alignment. He's like, I know, but just a little bit more, because we're like right at that point, we're going to get this huge thing. And I'm like, no. And he's like, yeah, no, okay. And he let go, and we rolled down the, it was like he was holding onto the rocks at the top of this waterfall. I'm like, come on, come on. And he let go.
And again, Opheana always saw that just a little bit before I did, but ultimately...
Well, you knew it, but
I knew it in my heart,
it was a mind.
And we're so trained, and it's all about understanding how trained you are. And I think from there, starting your journey, and perhaps a lot of you are already partly in that journey, but this is a move even further into understanding that you're going to be taken care of, because that's how this works. If you trust in that, and if you know that you're doing the right thing, you'll always be okay. And yeah, there may be some experiences and growth you need to have, but trust your journey. That's the main thing I think of this message today as well.
Yeah. So, are you a bad slave like us? Because we don't want a slave, so we're bad slaves. And if you have some other ideas about this that will help others, just put it in the comments, because we'd love to hear those sort of stories as well, because it's really about all of us supporting each other to move to build the faith so that we can all move forward to crash this financial system, in my opinion, to get rid of money out of this. We don't need it. We don't need money. It's ridiculous.
I mean, that sounds...
It's an energy exchange.
That sounds really big, and it's going to be what it's going to be. We know that the current way it's set up is not healthy, and it promotes that slavery system, because the debts keep people working in things that they don't want to be doing. So I think to soften that just a little bit is,
I'm quite passionate about it.
Ultimately, it's probably how it's going to go to some degree, but there might be waves through it. Ultimately, if there was a society where we would exchange with each other based on our heart's passion and what we want to be in the world and share with each other, that's a model that could work as well. And whatever it's going to be, ultimately it doesn't matter. But it will progress in that way, whether you come along with it or not. So the quicker you see where you're off balance, and the quicker you change that, the more life will carry you and support you to where you really want to be. And that's going to make you happy, healthy, and abundant in all sorts of ways, not just in that little pie chunk that is now main.
We feel at peace financially. We feel free in that we can do what we need to do.
Living within our means within that.
We're really living within our means. It's an amazing feeling. So it's really we're sharing our commitment to ourselves, and just really showing that it can be done. To commit to yourself, to your heart, to your soul, and just move forward with that kind of freedom. And the other freedom will meet you there.
Beautiful. All right. Yep. Well, thank you so much, guys. Like and subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you next time again.
Thank you.
Thank you.